All right, welcome. So we have done difference of perfect squares. Welcome to the final factoring technique of difference of perfect cubes. Okay, so we are very comfortable with this, right? If Mr. G asks you one more time, what is a squared minus b squared, you're gonna go crazy because we all know what it is, right? It is a minus b and a plus b, right? We just are getting so good at this. And here, to get 100 in the class, no questions asked, can you create two binomials that give you a squared plus b squared? Absolutely not. This is not factorable, okay? We have been talking about this. But here, we know what this is. These are the perfect squares, difference of perfect squares. But now, final factoring technique. What is a difference of perfect cubes? And when we talk about cubes, we're talking to the third power, right? Remember, if you have some x, it is to the third. That's what we mean by cube. Okay. So, how did we get that a squared minus b squared is equal to this? How did we know? I guess a little guess and check, right? We just did a little guess and check to kind of figure this out in class. That is literally all we did to figure out that this is equal to this. But here, it is not so obvious to guess and check this. There are many combinations that could happen. All right, so let's say if you don't guess and check, what is the actual way to figure out what this is? It has to be through polynomial long division. And I could already feel the groans inside. You're like, Mister, I don't remember how to do this, or it's been such a long time. But let's see. If a squared minus b squared is equal to a minus b times a plus b, right? If this is true, then let's say I divide both sides by, honestly, it really doesn't matter. Which one do we want to do? Let's do a minus b, right? If I divide this by a minus b and I divide this by a minus b, what do we get? That this has to equal what? That a plus b. And how can we check that? Polynomial long division, right? So let's see. Let's actually divide this and see what happens. If I have a squared minus b squared, and I want to divide that by a minus b, for the love of God, we need to get a plus b up here. So let's see. What do we ask ourselves? How many times, oh God, yes, I know, we're going down memory lane. But if you want to try and solve this on your own and show the steps, pause the video. But you ask yourself, how many times does a go into a squared? And that is, remember, what is that first move? It's always this divided by that. That is a squared divided by a, and that is equal to a. So we put an a up here. And then what do? You do a times a is a squared, and then a times minus b is minus ab, right? And then parentheses, parentheses, and a minus, okay? So then here, these two cancel, right? These two cancel. And now here, you're left with a plus. Remember, this is minus times minus. This becomes plus, right? And now you have, let's bring this down. You have ab minus b squared. Because can you combine minus b squared plus ab? Can you combine these two? Absolutely not. They are not like terms, right? They're not like terms. Yeah, so, okay, now we get this. So, again, what do we ask ourselves? How many times does a go into ab? And if that feels weird, just divide it, right? You're taking this divided by that. That's always the rhythm. And ab divided by a is equal to b. And then what do? We put a plus b here, and b times a is ab, and then b times minus b is minus b squared, parentheses, parentheses, minus, this cancels, and minus b squared, this becomes, look, minus times minus is plus, that cancels, and we get what? We get 0. So, again, we talked about it. What does that 0 imply? That a minus b is a factor of a squared minus b squared. how many times does a minus b go inside a squared minus b squared? It goes in a plus b times, because we have remainder 0, remember? So these two are factored, and look, we got a plus b, so big happy face. Now, we're going to have to do the same thing for a cubed minus b cubed and a cubed plus b cubed. If you want to see how this is done, go ahead. Let's watch the video. If you feel like, Mister, I really just want to know the formula and just plug it in and that's it, you're not going to get a deep understanding of how these things work. Okay? You can do that if you want. X a video out and just move on to the next worksheet, and I'm just going to show you how to use these formulas. But let's say if you want to go for it, what we're going to do is we're going to see what happens here. Now, how do you know what goes into a cubed minus b cubed? It's kind of, remember, this is mathematical intuition, right? Here, like, how did you know a minus b goes into this? How did you know a plus b goes into this? It's a feel. Like, I can't really give you an answer for that. And now here, my feel is that a minus b goes inside this, and that's what we're going to check right now. So we're going to take this divided by that. Okay, so how does it work? So if you have a cubed minus b cubed divided by a minus b, remember, if this goes in evenly, what has to happen? We have to get what has to happen at the very end? We need a remainder 0. If we get remainder 0, then we know this goes into this evenly, whatever we get up top here. Okay, so let's see. Let's do this. If you want, pause the video and try and solve it. Okay, and let's say you're coming back to the solutions. What do? How many times does a go into a cubed? You do a cubed divided by a, and you get a squared, right? That is a squared. So then what do you do with that a squared? It's a squared times a is a cubed, and then a squared times minus b is minus a squared b. Okay, and then you parentheses minus. Okay, so this cancels, right? And then what happens here? Remember that minus is distributed to the minus over here, so that becomes a plus, and then I can just cross that out. And then here we're going to bring down a squared b minus b cubed. And if you're thinking, Mr. G, I had minus b cubed plus a squared b, you are 100% correct. These two are the same. But the next step, remember, what's the next step going to be? How many times does a go into a squared b? If you had, for example, this over here, you ask yourself, how many times does a go into minus b cubed? It's not going to work like that. So you want to have that over here to have that opportunity. So let's see. How many times does a go into a squared b? If it feels weird, remember, it's always this, whatever that is over there, divided by a. So that is a. And now what does this become? A squared divided by a is just a, and that's just b, so it's ab. So we got plus ab over here, okay? And then plus ab times a is a squared b, and ab times this is minus a squared, a squared b, okay? And what do we do here? We bring both these up. This minus, and this cancels. And now you have, remember, it's minus to this that distributed as a plus, and now we have a positive a squared b minus b cubed. Okay, and then what do you ask yourself? How many times does wait, am I making a mistake here? Hold on. A b, this is a squared b. Hold on, ab times a is a squared b. Oh, this is, you see, yeah. ab times b is a b squared. Okay, yeah, because I noticed that was weird. So it should be a b squared, okay? And now here, what do? You do ab squared, you take this divided by that, and then this should be divided by a, and then what do you get? You get b squared. Right, so you get a plus b squared over here. And then what do you get? You get b squared times a is ab squared. And then this is minus b squared times b is minus b cubed. And then you get minus, and you subtract, and then you get this cancels, and then minus b cubed minus a minus is plus, so it's minus b cubed plus b cubed. We get remainder 0. We did it. We did it. So now notice that this evenly goes into the a cubed minus b cubed. And how many times does it go in? It goes in a squared plus ab plus b squared times. Now, what can we formulate? That, remember, if I have, for example, if I have 36 divided by 9, that equals 4, I know that that 36 is equal to 9 times 4, right? I know that this times this gives me this. And now what do we know? We know that our original a cubed minus b cubed is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay? Big happy face. All right, so this is equal to this. All right, and now we could do the same thing for this guy, this a cubed. Here, if we do a cubed plus b cubed, what is your gut feeling of what goes into a cubed plus b cubed? Right here, we had a feeling that, or I had a feeling that a minus b goes into this. Your feeling should be that a plus b goes into this, okay? And what you're gonna have to do is divide this by a plus b. And if you're thinking, Mr. G, I don't wanna do this, that's up to you, okay? If you wanna do this, try and do it and show it to me. I'm not gonna go over it right now because of time. But your final answer should be a cubed plus b cubed, right? It will equal a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared, okay? Because when you do this, you will get remainder 0, right? And this is the final answer. And look, they're very, very similar. They're very, very similar, okay? And in the next video, I'm going to talk about how to actually use this, because if you look at the worksheet that you have over here with the mastering the technique, we're going to learn how to do a cubed plus 27, x cubed minus 64, 2x cubed plus 128. Okie dokie. All right. Take care.